It's close enough. Call the regular meeting to order for the Tuesday, January 17th, 6 p.m. village board meeting at 6 o'clock. Before we do anything, I just wondering, we should have pledge of allegiance on here next. Is anyone, if you do have a hat, it is requested that you take your hat off for the pledge of allegiance, so that way you just pay respect to her. Thank you. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, first up, we'll do public comment, 2 minutes per person, 14 minutes per topic for anything on the agenda tonight.
We're gonna podium. I have a question.
Oh, it's right behind.
We have something that wasn't on the published agenda.
We really,
It is limited to agenda items.
right. So yeah, we're kind of limited to the agenda items.
Okay.
I'll speak up.
Yeah.
I'm here for the little free slide of Lenny's library. I had stuff prepared and then I got sick, so bear with me here. I would really like to implement this. We
Real quick, though, could you just stand up? I know you don't have.
Okay.
The podium.
No,
You can bring the podium over there.
no, it's okay. We'll just wait here. I just want to talk about the little sled library. I have all I can answer all your questions when you get to it. I just think it's a good way to foster community, get the people outside, give opportunities to people that might not be able to sled. And I researched every question you had, so I'm prepared. I'm here to answer all the questions and hopefully we can figure this out and get it done. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone online?
No hands are up.
Okay. Moving on, review the minutes for the January 10, 2023 work session minutes and the December 20, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Seems everything in here is pretty accurate. Brandon Crone, motion to pass the meeting minutes.
Second.
For both.
Yes.
First and second, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And if you want to ask if anyone's on here for those two.
Is anyone online for the plan commission topics? Yeah, so we'll just keep an order that we have. Next up, committee reports, Public Works. Number 1, discussion possible approval, Main Street Bridge Plan approval and bid authorization.
So good evening. We discussed the plan at the last meeting. One change we did have, we talked to village staff and we're now thinking that it would be better to open up bids March 8th as opposed to February 14th. And the reasoning for that is so the contractors that are bidding on both don't have to kind of plan for a worst case scenario of not getting one, not getting the other. You know, let's find out who the lowest responsible bidder is, and then having a little bit of break in there, so we can encourage them to sharpen their pencil and you know, others to bid this, and so not just have them on the same day. That is really the only change. At the last meeting, it was requested for some construction estimates, and you know, essentially the bridge component is. For the construction only is 630,000 with the standard railing and. You know, $20,000 higher we anticipate, so to 650,000 for with the decorative railing.
That include the engineering cost?
No,
in
just
addition?
construction.
So the engineering cost was an additional 14 on top of that, for the
20. As I recall. For the, just the fencing though, but there was also the bridge design.
right.
Which, is that the email you gave me?
Yep, it slipped my mind. I apologize. I was gonna get it to you. I had the numbers last week and I just dawned on me before the meeting that I had provided those to you, so apologize for the 11th hour. But again, currently our estimates you've invested thus far into the plant and spec, so. Get it out for bids and we'll have. Bid amounts come March 8th, you know, ahead of your workshop on that date.
Okay, so you'll put it out for bid on what day?
You know, later this month. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll still go out, it's just to have the due date be.
March.
Yes, yes.
That's how.
So it'll be on the street ahead of the opening for the February 14th. So that.
Yeah.
They'll all know, you know, well before the 14th, so they know it's there and they can plan accordingly, putting together their bid to the state.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't starting in March and then go, okay, well, oh no, it's like get us for a time frame, so that's why I want to clarify. Thank you.
So at this point, seeking approval for. Approval of plans and bid authorization.
So right now you're looking at either getting us to approve the 1.23 or 1.25.
Nope, not at all.
I know that-
That's, you know, that'll be their estimates right now. We'll have real bids March 8th, and then you can make that decision of. Bridge only, bridge with one fencing, bridge with the other fencing.
Or nothing, if it comes really high.
Yeah, or nothing.
All right, Josh, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Main Street Bridge Plan approval and bid authorization.
For March 8th. To be set up for March 8th.
If that's the date, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's.
That would be good, just the same thing, yeah.
You know,
For March 8th.
Second,
First, second on the table, any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next up, discussion possible approval PSA agreement, or I guess I should just say professional service agreement, Spring and Main Street improvements.
So, yeah, you know, this was discussed at your workshop, unless there's any additional questions. We're taking your authorization.
where are we at on that?
That's
the first one,
isn't it? That should be the first.
So 77,
77, correct.
and that. And that's re-engineering to remove that, this island out here too?
The island, revising the plans from last year as well as the right turn lane.
Okay, so we're talking about re-engineering something and we don't have the property on, or we don't own the property.
That is correct.
That's still under. Correct? Are we talking about that tonight?
And there, again, just to remind everybody, the ideal time to do those improvements and why we're working ahead would be this summer while the bridge is closed.
Well, if we don't have the land, though, Chuck, it's kind of hard for us to do the work on it.
No, I fully understand that.
So if that, I would think that we kind of putting a cart up in front of the horse. I mean, what if the land thing falls through, then we spent the money on. I mean, otherwise we'd have to do eminent domain or something like that, which I'm not a big fan of, and in order to get that, you know, I mean, what if we didn't have the engineering on that, what would this number cost?
I didn't break that out specifically. I apologize for that. It would be significantly lower though. And again, the thing by doing it right now is it affords you the opportunity. Should you reach some negotiation at some point this spring or summer. To do that. If you delay it. That window may be lost and, it's something that ultimately should be done. And, certainly if you design it now. That you'll still have that just on the shelf.
If we delay it, what?
Well, if you delay the design. And it takes till midsummer, say, to. Acquire that land or whatever the deal is, and then authorize design. We'll likely miss our window to do it this summer.
How long of a window do you need for the bid? So we need to have the property and then we can open for bid, right? We can't be bidding someone can't bid to do the construction and you don't have the land yet, right?
Well, you certainly can, you just would not want to award ahead of that.
What is the? Is this going to happen, or is it maybe it'll happen?
The negotiations with him have tightened up. So there's some urgency on his end. To find a solution where we can get what we need for additional right of way. And that it works out for him still.
Or are we talking the full lot, or are we talking just additional right of way so we can just get this portion done? Is that what it's? So it's went from a apples to, even land trade to now we just want the right of way. Is that what I'm understanding?
That's all that I'm negotiating with him. I told him that I won't get too far in the weeds of the conversation, but the land exchange or thing is not ideal.
That's off the table.
It's just not ideal.
Was
So,
it wasn't
remember
one
where-
time, but it wasn't.
Well, there's stuff that we talked in closed session, I think the negotiation stuff would be there, not in.
So the question on the surface,
Watch after.
Right.
do we have a? Is it smart to go forward with a significant amount of engineering money, right? In hopes or whatever, that we're gonna be able to either get the easement or get the property or reach some kind of agreement, right? I haven't personally been part of those negotiations, so I don't know. If you say yeah, then let's do it.
I'm optimistic about it. I can't guarantee anything, but I'm gonna say if we do the design and it happens. Then we have the design. If we do the design and it doesn't happen, then we wait. That design is always gonna be good. I'm just trying to look for the opportunity to make sure that we're gonna get kind of a little bit of a discount versus missing this construction season, having somebody else come in on a later date. And mobilizing. I'm trying to weigh the risks, and I'd be really upset if we didn't bid and he calls me up. A week from now and said, hey, let's do this.
Well, so I got a question then. How long, Chuck, does it take for you to engineer this? What's the time frame that you have on this thing? Because you got completed by September 2nd, 2023. That's the schedule of work performing, but to engineer this under this scope that you have in here. What's the time frame that you have to, are you putting forth for engineering, the engineering portion? Not the bid letting.
Yep.
You got 2 months, 3 months, 1 month,
Be all 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah,
Or engineering.
yeah.
I think one thing we have to remember is this is something basically really has to happen. We have to have this at some point, we're gonna have to get a turn lane in there. We can't have
I understand that, but
So, but I'm just saying, I understand what you're talking about too, and we say about spending money now or later. We have an opportunity now that, yes, it may work, and we do sometimes have to go on, I don't wanna say fully blind faith, but sometimes it is that. To say, hey, this may happen, we at least be prepared for it, or we're not prepared for it. And then we miss out on an opportunity this season to get things in, so it costs us more in the long run.
well,
To me, I don't see really a downside other than spending 30 grand or whatever it is for that work. I don't really see it's still gonna happen. We're gonna spend the 30 grand now or later.
As a reminder, you have Depot Street, that is your truck route
Mhm.
currently, and that will need to be reconstructed and without that turn lane. that truck route will either have to be another 11-mile detour, or we'll have to fashion some way to build it under traffic. Some of those things, and so that's why it's just, it would be unfortunate, and it may happen, but it'd be unfortunate to miss the 2023 window to do it while that bridge is shut down.
So how long have you let out for bids? 2 months?
Come on,
A month?
yeah, I mean,
Well,
I
we're
didn't-
letting out bids right now for 2 months. That's why I was wondering. So
well, yeah, you can shorten that time frame. And the reason we're kind of elongating that, generally it's 21 days or what have you, but you have to follow the council meetings. It has to go in front of the workshop, it has to go in front of the board, la-di-da-di-da, and then, then it hits you next month, that sort of thing.
So we wouldn't even get to be able to set out for bids on this thing until April, May?
Somewhere in that time frame. I mean, we would try to expedite it, but our mobility people, our surveyors are,
The bridge is only gonna be shut down May, June, or July, right? In August, right? It's gotta be opened back up in September, right?
But the intent would be to get it into construction. A lot more people can do this, the concrete and pavement work.
What is the timeline just for that section, if you had to guess? Bridge is not included, right, but it'll happen within that window, but what is specifically that area? What kind of timeline are we talking about?
Probably a month,
As I said, 3 weeks would be aggressive.
and it certainly. It can be done under traffic, but when you just have. That portion of it closed down, it just makes it a little bit easier to maneuver in there and to.
Do they bid, is it less money for us to do it while the traffic is dead, while traffic's not there? Or is it the same price regardless?
No, it would be cheaper while that bridge is closed.
Okay.
Because you don't have to accommodate, there would be times where you need flaggers and stop traffic
Right.
or detour, some of those details, so. And we have a conceptual layout, we have an idea what it looks like, and it's just putting pen to paper and getting the survey done and getting that going.
Well, on the other aspect of the, not just the bridge, but I did talk to, one of the business owners, on that island up here that you were talking about, and that's in this too, right?
Yeah,
So, we had originally talked about that, and I asked if there was a question, if there was a concern, safety or anything like that, and the big trucks don't even use that intersection where we were discussing. So if that gets removed, is that gonna be a right-hand turn lane going in there? Because they're concerned that their FedEx trucks and everything are gonna be coming out into traffic then. Right now, where that island is, that island protects them from oncoming traffic making a right-hand turn. They just asked if they could have that driveway expanded a little bit so that they're not riding over the curb when they take off on a right-hand turn.
that, a lot of those are design details when we get into it, and we can work with staff
But
and
there was a
and the
discussion.
property owners, and then there'll be an opportunity for them to, just like you, to review and comment, and,
Right.
if we need to massage the plans a little bit to suit their needs, that's all good information, Danny, and that's, part of the design effort.
Right, we talked about it as needed to be done because of safety too,
Yeah.
and they were hitting the poles and, hitting the lights, but, they said that it definitely, would, if they put a right-hand turn lane in there going into their property, then anybody making that turn out there is gonna be coming right into traffic, which they're not in big favor of.
That's a left-hand turn that would be put in there, right? Because they're not cutting out and going into. the
Well, left-hand
sidewalk.
turn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how-
They becoming a left-hand turn into their property, right?
That's, I believe,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which they'd be still into traffic there.
Right.
On that.
If they're coming around, yeah. I mean, and maybe if there's something from that standpoint, maybe if they don't need a left-hand turn lane and it's a bypass lane for a right-hand turn lane. To go to. The amphitheater and the hockey arena and whatever. From that standpoint as well. So I don't know, that's those details I think everyone needs to work on later on.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the exact
Spending the
design.
money to remove it, yeah, I think that was already discussed though at one time when they put the island in, right? They had meetings, they had discussions,
I'm
and
assuming.
it all got approved, and now we're taking it back out, and that's why I asked the question of them guys if there was a safety concern, if we should be moving forward with it and spending the money. And they brought up the fact of that all of their truck traffic doesn't even use that one, with the exception of the straight trucks. And all they need is an expanded driveway in order for that to work, you know, and a safer means. So,
That thing's been hit several times, correct? How many times have we replaced it?
Well, every time it's gotten hit.
Okay. At a cost of $25,000 roughly per.
Yeah, if we can't get insurance on it. I mean,
25,000?
those lights
Yeah.
alone are $13,000 for the single pedestal.
So,
One's down right now.
so taking it out, right? At very least prevents us from having to spend money to fix it again.
Hi, Josh, I'd like to make a motion to approve the professional service agreement for Spring and Main Street and improvements, not to exceed the amount of 77,000.
At least second.
First, second on the table, any other comments or questions?
I am going on the record to say that I think we can probably put the cart in front of the horse here. And that we should be at least looking at having acquired the land before we spend the money on engineering. I hope that that does come through if this motion passes, but right now, I think we could find a better place for that money. Especially, or at least table and budget the money before we go and spend it.
So just in response to that, how much is that gonna cost us this year to do the engineering? Roughly,
$77,000.
$77,000.
how much is it gonna
Design
cost?
and engineering.
If you had to guess based on what prices were last year, what's it gonna cost us next year? Do the same thing.
You know, add another 5% to it or what have you.
And then in addition to whatever more we gotta pay plus
Yeah, yeah,
inconvenience with the people and the traffic, right?
yeah,
Okay,
Potentially having to expedite it
Yeah.
if we did need to get it.
yeah. There might be some additional traffic control or whatever, you know, again, that's kind of,
But if we needed the plan expedited, then we'd have to, we'd cause a headache for you guys, and there probably would be a fee for that as well. And so
well, yeah, I mean, that's a possibility.
Or we don't get the land and we spend the money.
we're gonna have to get the land.
eventually it's gonna
It's
happen.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. We need to put the right hand turn lane in there.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, discussion possible approval, professional service agreement, erosion repairs and pond dredging.
So I did see the pictures that you sent for that. As soon as you sent, I was like, oh, that's been like that forever. It's always been like that. I've never seen it not like that down there. So thank you. Yeah, the one on the path. Yeah, as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, oh yeah, that one definitely needs to be fixed right away.
So based on the discussion we had at the workshop, I've revised this PSA to, you know, essentially include the evaluation, the redesign of the park pond, the park outfall, and then the storm outfall at the trail, okay? And that is for $47,910. Then also, we agreed to include this was after I discussed with staff actually, so, and then we're also proposing to include the construction administration component of it, so. That's during construction, those costs.
The 75, 60.
Yeah, that's the estimated construction admin portion of it. And so that's a total of $55,460. And then just for your information, those other ponds that are lesser of a priority, we just threw the roof cost and I just you would have them in front of you, so you understand.
And this is just for the design. We have no estimates as to what that's gonna cost.
That is correct. Yep.
Was, Donnie, I believe you asked for priority on these, correct, last time?
I actually asked for if we had budgeted money for it, and there was just a response that I think that said we had some budgeted, but we didn't know how much because it was, the numbers just came in. So Bob, how much is that set aside for in budgeting of this 47,910?
So my intent was to speak with Andrea. She was off last week and then with today's snow event, it just consume my time, but looking at what I have for the capital outlay. In 19, there was a contribution of 2019, there was a contribution of 19,000. This last year was 40,000, so we do have, from what I have on my spreadsheet. 59,000 for at least for this proposal.
Is some of that gonna be eaten up with this 77,000? That we just approved?
No.
That's a different budget number?
This is- Yeah,
Okay. I asked for engineering of the whole thing, that's why I did it.
oh,
I
okay,
didn't,
yeah.
so we're,
I guess I was under the assumption that you wanted all of them prioritized, which one we're gonna do first, which one we're gonna do second, which one we can put off until maybe next year.
Yep, and he has,
kind of looks like, yeah. It looks- They put together, this is priority. Right, and but we don't know what those estimated costs are gonna be, so we could have it engineered, but it could come in. Too much more than what we wanna spend. So that's why I guess what I'm asking is, do we have capital improvements to cover? The engineering and to fix these redesign of the outfall and the ponds and stuff like that.
and I won't know that until they are finished with their evaluation design.
Okay,
I mean, he could guess, but
Depends on what they run into the bottom of at the bottom of the
sure,
sludge, if they
yeah.
run into. They
Right.
run into toxics.
If we got-
Stuff at the bottom of the sludge, they gotta get certain people to come in and test it.
sure, and that's all the variables. Well, I guess what I'm asking is do we have some money set aside that, and we have in the budget saying we're going to be. Using this money after we engineer this to start working on these projects, or are we just engineering to engineer and we won't be getting any of them done because there's no funding.
Yeah, good question. Will that happen at the same time as the bridge? That's a lot going on down there. Will we be able to
I
do
don't
that next
know,
year?
but I don't anticipate us being able to do all of these.
Well, because they're anticipated to complete by September 29th of this year. So that's why I'm asking if we can't complete it, then
Well, I guess from the standpoint for clarification, is it, so right now, we're basically looking at talking about just the Village Park Pond, not the bottom floor.
Right.
well,
Correct.
and all construction administration.
Right, but I'm just saying, we're not looking at the bottom floor, so
No,
it's the Village
yeah.
Park Pond and that. So that's what I'm saying, so can we do we have the funding available for that, is I think, we're not, do we have it for all of them, do we have it for it's a 55, 460, which sounds like we're at 59, do we have it to do the dredging on it if necessary?
And the redo.
No,
and actually
no
build it.
dredging at all, no pond dredging.
You gotta completely redo those ponds.
This pond right here.
Yes. Do we have the funding to complete that?
I would have to verify that with Andrea. I simply can't answer that. I'd be surprised if we did for both of those. Just because I think they're pretty substantial.
Right. So if we got. If we engineer this and things change, this is just a question, if we approve this and things change in. Something next year, do we have to have this all re-engineered, Chuck, or is this, you know what I'm saying? I said, oh, well, the DNR's changed their specs on a pond or whatever the case may be, and now we gotta come back and have that redone because. We didn't have the funding to handle this, or, I mean, or, cause I'm concerned about spending the money to engineer it when we don't have the money to do it.
Fair point. I guess the way I would answer that, Donnie, is, okay, the 23,000 for the pond capacity evaluation redesign. That's where you figure out what's in there, how big does it need to be, some of those aspects of it.
Mhm.
Then we'll have a better cost estimate for staff to figure out whether or not they've got the money, right? And then should they go for, at that point. Would they go forward with the design? Would be a decision. That, would be made, if the money wasn't there, you could hold off on the design, you could hold off on the design. And then you would essentially more likely hold off on the outfall improvements for that park as well. And then you would just stick with the storm outfall on the trails, because that needs to be done. That's a, you know.
But that is a safety issue down there, right?
Yeah,
That
it's a-
outfall and everything like that?
so,
I mean-
so we'd have the design of the pond, so maybe we'd put in you know, a portion of the pond. And the outfall, so that's. You know, a little more armored and can be used for the future pond expansion as well as kind of the interim.
Isn't the outfall on the other side of it's on the other side of the pond? So I know where that trail is washed out, the pond's on the other side of the river, isn't it?
Could they do
There's no
a approval a contingent of? What Andrea and Bob come up with down there?
When do you, what is the hurry to get this today versus waiting until Bob has better information on relative to whether we have funding to be able to follow through with some of it?
If we wanna use fund $100, which is our operational, it'll be probably 15 years before I can put enough money in there. To cover the cost of these projects, just because the way our budget's tight. So. I don't know another alternative other than going out to get a bond and borrow for this work. So that's realistically what probably would happen.
But we're not trying to like get this done at the same time as the bridge or anything like,
No,
whereas for instance, this stuff on the corner here, we're trying to get all that done. This, while the bridge is being done,
yeah,
there doesn't need to be extra traffic control or anything like that for doing any of this.
no.
You know, the short answer is, you know, can you wait another month or something? Yes, you know, some of that evaluation of the pond and things. Probably can't happen until spring anyways. We'd like to get going on it, you know, if the thought is there. And then also the sooner we can get going on the, you know, some of the erosion issues that are out there, the better. You know, we don't have to wait for spring on that. We lumped them up because, you know, the same staff are doing, you know, the same effort. And so we just would like to, the thought is to, well, to get authorization so we can start planning accordingly and coordinate that effort. If we do receive authorization tonight, we can look at, you know, starting on the storm outfall for the trail and some of those improvements. Have further discussion with Andrea and Bob and about cost estimates and bring some of those numbers back to you next meeting.
Or we could table it until next meeting and have that conversation
That's
all together.
That-
Would that
that's
be fine?
That's fine.
I Donnie couldn't make a motion to table this till next month, till we have further information in regards to estimates on the work that needs to be done as well.
Brandon, for a second.
First and second on table, any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye to table.
I,
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion table till next month.
Thank you for bringing this up, though. It's good to have this on our radar.
Yeah.
So we have visibility of this.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's good to have these things out ahead of us months. Right before it needs to be done.
well, we can find the money to work that overflow that's been, dredging and everything like that.
So now
It definitely is something to look at.
So. All right, next item on is discussion possible approval pay app number 5 for Staub Construction Corporation.
This was discussed at the workshop, so if there's no further discussion, we recommend approval of payment number 5 for $250,620.45.
Donnie Kern make a motion to approve that amount.
Other second,
First and second on the table, any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Likewise, we have pay application number 6 for $386,362.91.
I Donnie Kern make the motion to approve. Bid application 6 in amount of $386,362.91.
please second.
First, second on table for the comments or discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Next, planning commission. Do we have anyone? Doesn't look like anything's changed. All right, discussion possible approval, extraterritorial plat review, creating minor lot division, one lot, we'll get off the County Road I in town of Somerset. Applicant Bill Lawson, sorry.
During the planning commission regular meeting, we did not have any issues with either territory plot review. And recommended them for approval.
The Lawson. Okay.
Is that a motion, Josh, or?
No, I was just letting you know.
Oh. Sorry, my ears were ringing. I,
No, you're good.
Doug Lottie will make a motion to approve, the extraterritorial plat review, creating minor lot division, lot one lot, with the County Road I and County of Somerset, applicant Bill Lawson. First and second, any, further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is discuss possible approval, extraterritorial plat review, creating minor lot division 3 lots located at 85th Street, town of Somerset, applicant Kirk and Elizabeth Christensen. And based off of the comments from planning commission, the body will make a motion to approve that proposal as presented.
Brandon Crowe, second.
First and second on the table, any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, fire rescue monthly report for December 2022. Fire chief is not on, so do is our monthly representative going to come with us?
It appears that it accurately reflects all the activities and information from fire department.
So I had something to add on this one. We did do Todd and myself had a ride along with the chief, Chief Trepsick, and we did run into Chief Bull when we were out, on patrol. The video is up on the YouTube page, so, encourage everyone to watch it and laugh at it. That's not that great. We're working on it. It's our first video. Next one's Public Works, Bob.
TikTok heroes.
No,
YouTube.
so we haven't proven for yet. Working on more here.
Don't do
It's a change.
No, I just didn't want to see a dance, Brandon.
All right.
All right. Next up, new business, a discussion possible approval change of February village board meeting date. Where's this come from? This
Me.
is. Because we have,
Because we have an election on the 21st. Which is the date of our. So.
would be of our board. meeting.
if you could- Yes.
Be at the board meeting and the election.
No. So I would like if you could do it that following Monday or Tuesday, I think the 28th or,
Or the 27th or the 28th.
is that what it is, Monday or Tuesday?
Because it would move everything out one day on that calendar. Need a new calendar on your door map.
We're looking for what day then?
That following Monday or Tuesday, if you could.
The 28th.
is it 27th or 28th?
Is that what it is? I don't have a calendar.
28th should be the last Tuesday.
28th, looks good for me.
Make it work.
Reno, how you looking?
The idea is in full.
I think you're
board to the
sweating over there.
Yes.
Maria.
And we're still on, we're looking at somewhere on the 17th.
You got a conflict?
No.
28th?
Right.
How's that gonna flow as far as the following month? With the pushing back a week, is there anything that would?
We've done this before, yeah, I know.
Okay.
Do we need to get, is there any thought to having it before the election? So in case we,
Do we want to go early?
I think then you start pushing into having the work session.
well, it shouldn't matter, you're still affected, so.
Well, I mean, we're still gonna have to do, we have to do both.
It
meetings.
would affect, it would go into the finance meeting. The work session,
I think you'd be better off pushing it off.
and then the preparation before the elections. a lot.
For what it's worth too, the DOT project is letting on the 14th, so we'll have some information on after the 14th on that project.
So maybe we should move our work session.
Well, that's down the road, talking about continuing with work sessions, when are you guys gonna do that? That's further down though, so.
Well, I think it's still,
Or will you have them on that day?
On the 14th, so I won't have anything other than,
Here they are.
here's a number.
Yeah.
I'll probably just have,
That-
one or two numbers for you.
Something worthy of discussion though on the 14th,
Yeah,
right?
just,
Okay.
Doug, glad to make a motion to change the February village board meeting date to, Tuesday, the 28th.
Josh, I take second.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing that, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. February 28th, Tuesday. 6 P.M. Same place. Next up, discussion possible approval village YouTube channel policy.
So I did get a chance to research some other municipalities social media policies. So it does have purpose, terms of use, then it kind of defines what speech is allowed, how to report incidents, prohibited content. Has disclaimers, as far as like saying friendly, liking it or similar exchanges, actions between individuals, employees and social. Just all that good stuff. I sent that over to the lawyer, so I don't think Jed Anders and haven't had a chance. to read
Haven't had a
it.
chance to like thoroughly dig in and change parts, but as long as the policy basically says you're gonna follow the First Amendment. You're not gonna delete comments, but there may be terms of service that supersede what the village does. And YouTube may pull things, which is out of your control. You know, that probably protects the village enough, as long as that's what the policy says, so I think. It was pulled from another municipality. Hopefully they had a lawyer look at it, so I think what you could do tonight is approve the policy as proposed. Continuing on.
They don't even have it, no, I wasn't
They don't
given,
have it?
I wasn't given that
They
information.
sent it to you.
Okay,
That's
So
it.
let's wait till next month,
okay,
maybe.
yeah, let's do it next month then, sorry. I thought you
Want
looked
to
at
put
it.
the item on the agenda for the next work meeting, we can discuss
I'll
it at
forward
that point.
this to you as well.
That's work session?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
So what did it say about the profanity aspect of it? Is it just did it deviate everything to what YouTube allows, or is it?
I will forward this over to you as well, Don.
YouTube pretty loose relative to profanity, they just aren't gonna monetize your. account
It's
if you
kind,
say
so it's
the-
not just
the wrong
YouTube,
thing Too much.
it's like an all encompassing. So it also has Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, in case we use any of that stuff, because I'm not planning on it, but you're not gonna. We might as well, if we're making a policy, we might as well make one that encompasses also social media, and I did look it up.
Facebook, a village Facebook account, right?
Hmm?
We do have a village Facebook account.
No.
I thought that's. what you
I don't
guys said.
handle it.
Do we have one?
I thought Andrew.
And maybe Andrew does it.
We do have one? Who's in control?
Never updated. The last we've updated is 2001.
Who's in
I-
2020.
I don't
Who's
even
in
use my own
control of
Facebook, I don't know how.
Let's see, Facebook.
No,
didn't
who's
exist-
controlling it? You got one. It's in place.
Facebook didn't exist in 2001.
Or 2020. I'm tired, I'm really tired right now.
Part of our public space page.
Yes.
Well, I think.
I have a question.
So are you guys,
All right,
did you guys want this to be,
I think we just table it. till
Just put
next
it on the
month,
work meeting and.
Then we can all have a time to read it.
Yeah, we
Look
have
at
a
it.
term of service.
I sent you the- I sent
Well. Yeah, so you, what question do you have?
The question I have is with regards to that policy, is there also a part of that policy that has to do with, there's more than just one individual going to be handling that, and is that in that policy as well? Because we talked about that originally as well.
You say-
as the admin, you mean?
Yeah, there'd be more than one individual. I think you said somebody from the.
Yeah, I did, that is not in here, that's a good point, Donnie.
Andrew.
So I think that was part of the
Decide
thing,
where
like you said, we
Andrew
would
do
take
it?
and be able to read it, and then we can discuss it this next month, so we have
Andrew.
time to look at it. I don't know that. Without us having a chance to read it. It
Yeah.
doesn't
No,
make sense.
so I saw it on the agenda and I sent it out.
I understand, but I think we can get
Let's,
more
we'll
out of
put,
it.
there'll be something put together, so next work meeting, it'll be a rough draft of something, and then we can debate, negotiate, whatever.
And I'll send it out to all of you too, if you didn't already, so,
I sent it.
okay,
sent
yeah,
it to you.
that's good.
And
Okay.
so-
Table that.
We tabled it?
Or- Yeah.
So I
Are
guess.
you
everyone
are you
on the
making a
table-
motion to
Good.
table, or you don't have to?
I would just postpone it to so we can put it on the working, so the
Postpone it to
next
the-
village meeting. About that.
Do we need to put that forward? Or can we just say it?
Just motion to postpone this to the next village board meeting.
Okay.
That's all I would.
I'll make, Doug, I'll make a
Motion.
motion to postpone to the next village board meeting.
Probably second.
Work session here.
Yeah.
It'll go to the work session, but then it'll just automatically.
Not the work session.
Village
Work
board,
session
yeah.
first.
Work session is different.
Mhm.
Usually the stuff that's on village board goes to the work session.
Okay. I'll just clarify.
Most first, second on the table, any other comments? Just
What was the motion again?
postpone it to the next work session.
All right.
And then possibly to the village board meeting.
There you go.
Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, discussion possible approval of fire hydrant cleanout day.
Yeah, I put this on the agenda, because I wanted to, first off, I wanted to say that, the information that was given to us by Bob when we had last snow event was, put out in, as I asked him if he was okay, he said, yep, so I put it on Facebook, and I got all good things to say about, the guys that did the work out there and cleaning up the village. And I just want to commend you guys for all the good work you did out there. There was one question brought up by Chief Belisle from the fire department, was if we could start working on the fire hydrants. And I noticed that they have been cleaned out, a significant amount of them. I spent 2.5 hours on Saturday shoveling them out myself, all around in my neighborhood and up by the church. But he had mentioned something about a possible fire hydrant cleanout day or something on that lines, and maybe if we get the Facebook page up, I put it on the agenda for discussion. I think we're pretty good shape around here. With our fire hydrants, but if we get another significant snow event like that, I don't know if we have something that we can put out maybe in the mailers with our utility bills saying, guys, adopt a fire hydrant. He suggested that as a possible means to get the fire hydrants cleaned out, like, within 24 hours, or if we can give some notice, maybe up at the school. I know there's kids that are looking for volunteer hours that they might be interested in getting that done, but any help that we can give to the public works and getting those fire hydrants cleaned out in case there would ever unfortunately be an event where we need to use them, that we're not spending valuable time digging them out of the snow.
Well, isn't the ordinance written that it's the homeowner's responsibility to clean that out?
Well,
So,
It's in the homeowner's best interest, and that's really what you want to.
Well, I don't believe there is an ordinance, is there on it?
Well, I think it does say that, I remember a couple of years ago anyway, because the question was asked and you, I think, answered that, said it was. They do get it as soon as they can, usually it's within a day or two of getting it, but they do ask for the community's help. If you see it blocked up, it's in your best interest to help clear it out, and so I know that they do, obviously, you gotta get the roads clear and everything as well, so it is a challenge, so, but where I grew up and everything else, all the stuff over there it was homeowners' responsibility in that area to
So
clean it
is
up,
there
but-
like certain area around that? Like what happens if somebody does do this right and let's say you wreck their grass? I mean, is that ever an issue? You know what I'm saying,
What
right?
if they wreck their back?
Right? It's never an issue.
Well,
Theoretically, we have a utility easement through there.
Would there be liability?
Well, I was wondering, because like we start doing,
That's right.
but I also feel if we rip up a significant amount of their yard, we do go in the springtime with some black dirt and some seed.
Mm-hmm.
Exceeded any significant damage that would do.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I got a couple patches of dirt, when I was shoveling, but I mean, like I said, we're up there in the easement in the middle of the road, or, right off the road there. So- Huh? Yeah.
Them be able to get to it rather
Yeah.
than regardless,
I mean, and that's something that's fixable, how having not.
So would you like me to have Jim put something on the Public Works Facebook page or just?
We haven't found the Public Works Facebook page. That's what I was looking for, to put something on there, and I did, when you mentioned that about a Public Works, Facebook page, I didn't find one.
do we have one of those too?
I-
I don't know, I'm in the MySpace time
There is-
apparently.
There,
Don't think we got it.
So there's a.
there's a public
I
works.
Googled it, or, I searched for it, but I couldn't find it.
There's a public safety, there's a public works, and then there's a general village one.
Okay.
I'm
So
asking. that's
there,
a question.
there, no,
No,
there's an ordinance, so wait,
Hang on.
Oh, there it is.
there's an ordinance right here, duty to remove snow and sleet from sidewalks. 627B, failure to remove in case of failure or neglect of any owner, occupant of any land or parcel of land to remove the snow or sleet from sidewalks as specified in subsection A within time set forth in said subsection after 24 hours after the cessation of any fall of snow. The owner or occupant has failed to remove such snow from sidewalks as specified. The director of public works shall remove or cause snow or sleet to remove from all the sidewalk, and cross sidewalks that may be so neglected by the owner or occupant, and a fee established by the village shall be assessed.
That's for sidewalks.
Look at the hydrants.
Well, my question was, the hydrants in Little Grassy Boulevard, or are they part of this, part of the sidewalk? I
Just
just,
a combination.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're all.
were there sidewalks?
Say over mine,
They better clear it out.
somebody's yard. By
If it's in the
now,
grassy
two.
boulevard or whatever you want to call it. But so.
You guys put big poles up next to them, so when the snowplows blow snow off the side of the road?
We can find them.
Yeah. Are those there? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Legit question.
A lot of them, not all of them.
Okay.
Maybe that might be something.
Maybe that's what we do next year. is we
Well,
put-
we'll get it on the
get us some
agenda for
sticks.
a further discussion, but I'd like to get those all accurately marked, because there was a couple of them I had to dig out.
But I think that's a good idea, what you guys said before, if we can put it on, if we have access to get it onto the village Facebook page, or public works page. Just get it out there, and even if we throw a blurb into the next utility bill, just to say, hey. This is a reminder, and maybe we have to do that as a reminder throughout the winter every year, as once. November starts, we start putting that blurb in there every month, just keep it in there every
He
month.
pulled it up right away.
Homeowners are really pretty
Public
good about
Works
digging
Facebook page.
hydrants.
Right,
You pulled what up?
Typically good.
Public Works
Some of
Facebook
the
page.
industrial park that.
What is it?
Found it right away.
We have a public safety one too.
Public Works. We have a public safety one too, but this is Public Works.
Well, it's Village of Somerset. It just says Village of Somerset Public.
so I think there is a,
On
yeah,
Facebook.
Somerset Police Department, I don't think there is a public safety one.
I think there is.
Okay, so all
I
the.
think the police department has one.
I think that all this should be added to the network meeting under that same YouTube thing, because it's all gonna be kind of the same mess. You don't look at it that way.
So you want this on the work session for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
the-
With the YouTube channel.
because
Must be the internet
You just
here.
need, you just
YouTube
need
channel,
that.
Facebook page, whatever else we got.
So what we, Felicia,
September 20th.
I think what we should look at for that is, to say village social
Well, I was
media.
gonna start doing that when
policy.
Andrew's been off for the year or week.
For the,
I'll be one.
For all of this, so the village social media
What?
policy, so that'll
or,
cover. us for the
do you don't want
channel.
YouTube
For
separate?
I think it's all within,
For the.
I don't know if
Well,
you
I
want to
thought
have
you were
separate
talking
line
about-
items in there.
Oh,
Or I
right.
think if we have something, guys.
I think,
guys,
I think it's a great, I think.
Well,
it's
cause
great.
isn't the YouTube mostly just for the meetings more so and the ride-alongs? and-
Well, is what he was talking about through there is they discuss in the policy, all the different social medias of what they do and how the interactions of. If
Mhm.
there's more than one person, if it's, do you delete comments, do you have all that? I think it all falls into. The whole gamut of all of them.
Okay, Facebook and YouTube kind of thing.
Right,
You're
so the
thinking of
social
policy.
media
I see what you
and that.
mean, yeah.
So I think.
So if I put village,
Does that sound appropriate?
village YouTube.
Social media.
Just so-
or social
Build
media.
social media.
So that's all I had, but if you could get something, maybe just a friendly reminder on the fire, I did hear a lot of good work, and I commend the guys for the hard work they did on getting the snow cleared from the streets, and if you could look on the Facebook page, it was all positive comments about the guys. So, good job, guys.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, we'll move on to discussion possible approval continuing with work sessions. So we just asked on here, so we kind of gone through things. I know for the next 2 months, I'm looking to have the, as we did this month, the finance personnel meeting separate as we kind of go through a few things on that. Don't want to take everyone's time necessarily there. I don't really have a problem with doing the working sessions right now. I think they're going, I mean, nobody likes 3-hour meetings, but at the same point, this last time wasn't so bad.
The last two have only been an hour and a half.
I think
That's how long the videos.
I know the last one was an hour and a half for
And the one before that was like an hour and a half, so. We're trimming it up.
sure.
Be quicker, leaner.
So at this point, I mean, unless anyone has any disagreement, I'll just continue this through the remainder of this term.
Need for much forward.
No, that's my discretion. So I'm just asking if anyone has any problems with that, with doing the work sessions.
Well, I do have a question on that. If we're gonna continue for the rest of this term, do we need to change our ordinances? Because within our ordinances, we have this committee separately when they're gonna be held and all that kind of stuff. I think.
Well, I believe the ordinance does say, honors will correct me if I'm wrong, but it says that we can have, in lieu of those, we can have
Okay,
a work session. It's called at the discretion of
At
the.
the discretion of the chair.
At the discretion of the village president, you can have committee of the whole meetings.
okay. I just
I
wanna make
think
sure.
if this, if it's something you want to continue past April, whoever, however the board is constituted, it's going to continue. I think you would want to revise your ordinances.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure so we weren't doing something wrong. And then do you guys, did you want to set a date? So we can be consistent, so everybody knows when that meeting is gonna be every month, just like we have plan commissions first Thursday, village boards third Tuesday.
Which has been the same date on members.
Well, we changed it a couple times. if
Yeah, because we just had different things. I mean, from my standpoint, I don't mind a week in advance. It gives us all, if people are good with Tuesdays, I don't mind the Tuesday before the board meeting. Keep it on Tuesday, then you know you got Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think you have.
Tuesday before the board meeting would conflict with your 28th board meeting then, because the 21st is the election, so
Well,
it would have to be the.
no,
board
but
meeting,
what
right?
I mean by that is it's typically on the third Tuesdays when we have the board meeting, so the
So
second
this would be the
Tuesday
second Tuesday each
would be
month.
the working session.
Okay, so second Tuesday is what you're saying?
Unless otherwise,
Unless we have to change
If
because
there's
of
a-
whatever.
Right.
Election or.
An election.
something else.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
It's just kind of nice to know for the calendars and stuff.
Next up, discussion possible approval, Little Slug Library. So I did talk with Shyla, she reached out to me on Friday, well, I think you reached late Thursday, I got it Friday morning. About the Little Slug Library, I think there's info in here. The emails that she had sent me, and is there, oh, we didn't get the picture, you didn't find the picture of it.
No, I didn't find the picture. so-
You guys may have the picture,
You want to, do you have?
but I
a
do
picture?
know some of you saw it at the meet, when you came to the academy, so you do know the concept of it, right? If you saw the
So,
picture.
yeah, if you don't know, so
seen-
basically it's a bin made out of 2x4s that has a sign saying free sleds for use on the Village Park Hill. It would have a placard on there that indicates these sleds have been donated by private citizens and they are for your use at your own risk. Please replace them, so take a sled. Bring back a sled or. how would
Can I
that-
carry? Okay, so it'll be a 4x4x2 and then 6 feet. We're gonna have it all on one sign. I don't really like how Hudson has their liability right down on the bottom. Let's just put it up there on top, for the little free sled library. We want to have exactly our disclaimer, these sleds are donated by private citizens. Use at your own risk. Take one and return it. And honestly, I just drove past by and again, they're using the sleds, they put them back. It's really not an issue. These people sled down because you keep it at the bottom of the hill. So when they're done, they just put it back and there's really never an issue. And I do know, I would like to check them weekly, make sure there's no broken parts. If you were concerned about broken parts, I walk by there nightly. I'm willing to do nightly checks. To make sure there's no debris and the sleds are put back. That's not an issue. I kind of was trying to come up with a negative and Todd had asked us, can you show us another community where one of the ideas came to fruition? And I'm like, well, I don't want to come up with another community. I want to do this for our community and use that as an example. I don't see any negative to it. I think it gives children opportunity when they don't have the resources for sleds. It'll give a mom or a dad a break, like they have an appointment at the clinic, you got 20 minutes. Just bring your kid down the sled, you know, it's just a good, I don't see a negative there.
So. My question again only is because this is the part that I handle. Is if a liability, what about insurance?
Well, and that's what we were saying with having a placard they use at your own risk. I think it's like a lot of other things from a public property thing where you do have there's inherent things that it is something I question that as well. And so I don't know if Anders hasn't seen it. I want to make sure that we're not opening ourselves up, but I do think if we could do it, I think it's a nice thing. If
I think it's cool.
we have people that are asking, right, people that are asking for things for kids to do, and, you know. I have some other ideas for some private people after later, but I think this is something that we can do that. You know, the park's not getting used right now, so I don't know if it is the top side by the.
I
ball
mean,
fields.
just slide on it.
So some people are already doing that just on their own.
Yep.
But to have something that's there,
You've never slid down the village.
They keep a sled up there, the sled up there. I will go down it at one sled with a van and out warning sign, it'll contain that. And I know the Hudson, there's no way Hudson's gonna. I
We'll
mean,
make
Hudson's
sure we
pretty
follow
big.
that back
I'll
there
just
so
keep
folks can get that.
Anders, is there liability if kids go grab one without their mom, dad knowing, bust an arm on the way downhill, and then they come back and they're like, hey, look, you guys supplied the sleds, you can pay the bill.
Well, I mean.
No.
Listen, I'm a lawyer, so there's always the possibility of liability, and there's always gonna be a lawyer that wants to sue if someone breaks their arm using the sled provided by the village.
I mean, because if
No,
somebody,
it's
And
not provided by the village. It's not provided by the village.
Just want to clarify.
it's maintained by the village,
Okay.
you know,
Not maintained by the-
promoted by the village on village property, right? So that they're not gonna sue the private donor, they're gonna go to the entity with the deeper pockets.
Sure.
So
People
there's
who-
that.
But you could say, what were you doing, letting your
So-
child slide along?
All right. I've had 4 interruptions, sorry, do we want, okay, all right. You know, I think there's likely some type of recreational immunity that would apply to the village. It's nothing you're required to do to maintain sleds, so I think you'd have some qualified immunity to shield you from liability. Can I say you'll never get sued? No, there's always gonna be some shyster that tries to. You know, wring money out of something, out of an injury like that. So, I mean, is there liability? Sure. You have defenses, yeah. You know, so that. I can't predict how a lawsuit would go.
So if someone gets hurt in that park right now, they could sue us on that as well, right? Cause
Yeah,
they're sliding down the
And,
hill
and
right
then,
now.
yeah, and that's where, you know, you have no duty to maintain that, really, I mean, there's nothing that says thou shalt maintain a safe sledding hill. I mean, if you install a fence, you know, in the middle of it, you know, that would obviously be something different, but, you know, no one's doing that. And there, again, recreational immunity, some other qualified immunity and other defenses would exist for the village, so. If it's a risk, yeah, I suppose so, but. Is it possible you get sued? Sure. Is it likely they'd recover? You have defenses, so I would just leave it at that.
Just as a question from the standpoint of the usage. If they, because that's what happens on hills, right, is people build jumps. So is there, you know, is that something that we would have to have any responsibility to remove or knock down? I mean, I don't know that we're doing it now. So we're not doing that now as a,
I mean, I suppose. I'm gonna say no, but I mean, you could get multiple incidents. You know, with one type of part of the hill, you know, maybe you would at that point, but I'm not saying you do.
Would it serve us to be able to? I mean, I'm inclined to say, yeah, whatever, right? Say, a lot of you kids wanna go slide down the hill, good for them, right? Better that than hanging out and playing video games. On the other hand, we don't want a $2.5 million lawsuit coming at us. That, yeah, they may not win, but it's gonna take us a couple $100,000 to defend or whatever. Right?
Yeah, I mean, typically insurance would pick up that bill and something like that, and you see municipalities that have their own sledding hills, in city parks, village parks, that. I think in Wisconsin, Minnesota, that area, if you ever like shut down a hill for sledding, that's gonna create bigger headlines than anything else, so.
If we're safe with this, and
Yeah, what's the next step?
And I think the disclaimer just needs to be clear, these are sleds that are donated, they're not. Maintained by the village, they're not, and you assume the risk.
So just a couple questions. This is on, there's the sledding hill over here
Village Park, or, yeah.
on the
Yep.
village park, just that sledding hill,
Yeah.
not other properties, because, I just want to make sure we're not talking about up by Larry Forest, that hill, because that'd be on
That's
private
on private
property.
land.
That's Walner's place up there. But, who's getting the signs?
I'm having them made,
Okay,
and I'm having the box and everything made.
that should probably be made sure that the legal stuff comes from the village attorney, right?
Sure, yep. Do you have my email, Shella?
I bet you I can get it from Felicia.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I want you, if you want me to email you language or vice versa, if you want to take first crack at it, go for it.
I'll take your advice. I'll take what you want on there and we'll get on there.
Okay.
If you can see that, I do know, I don't know, you don't have access to the picture, but the exact wording on Hudson's was. I believe it's these sleds, well, first it said thanks to the Hudson Park Board or whatever, and then it said these sleds are provided by private citizens. Use at your own risk. It's exactly what is on the Hudson's Vine Street. Slide. Thanks.
So maybe all you can need is not maintained by us.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can compare, but compare and say.
oh man, good for them, get them outside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor, so I mean, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the little sled library with the condition, I guess, just on the final approval for verbiage on the liability, if you will, from funders.
Yeah, because I mean, to place structures, to construct things on village property, you need the permission of the board, so you need your approval.
I'll be second.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Last, just real quick on that, that was one thing we did talk about too, as well as where to store that in the off season. So you mentioned that you possibly could do that.
I can on the storage facility, or I might come back for summer and we might talk about if we can have some discs for the disc golf course. Can I table that until the summer, but I will take it whenever you guys decide, the snow, even maybe I'm thinking weather inclement, the last snow. I'll pull it.
Yeah, we can help with that.
And thank you for coming to the board and asking for just putting something. in, so-
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate that. We can work through these issues.
Thank you so much, and thank you for helping with the wording. I'm so excited for this. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
So much appreciation.
Okay, next, discussion possible approval of special meeting that includes the public to discuss issues homeowners have had with new home purchases. Mr. Lee.
So there was I think it was brought up last week,
Yeah, at the word.
and we talked about potential solutions for some of these issues that we've heard about or we've seen or whatever. And it got me to thinking that if there was a public forum, because people do well on the face chat, right? Like they'll put stuff up there. And I think that we can't solve for problems that we don't know exist, right? BK brought up the land grading issue in his neighborhood. I've read and heard about other stuff over in Whispering Pines. So anyways, what I was thinking was that we could get, I don't know if we have a standalone meeting or if we do it as part of our next work meeting. But we invite the public, say, look, come down. If you bought a house in the last 10 years, 15 years, whatever, and you had issues, not related, not quality issues, right? That's not what it's about. But issues specifically with builders not following through, whatever, this is not gonna be like a crucifixion of one builder or another. I'm not interested in that. And I don't want it to turn into that. However, I would like if the residents of the village would come forward and say, hey, look, these are the issues that we had. And then give us the opportunity to kind of collect those, and then maybe we can solve some of those or take some steps.
And can I just real quick, so one of the things just to follow up, when we talked on the phone a little bit about it, and part of the concern, obviously, when we talked was having it be a reiteration of other things, but I think it was the opportunity as well to say, okay, if these are the types of things that are happening, what sort of things, if anything, can we do putting into ordinances that maybe other builders, so if we have a, whatever, and some builder that says, okay, there's issues with not getting the grass plan right. Well, we do this, we do put money into escrow, or we've had that done before, we, whatever. Are there ideas that reputable builders that can also come back and say, hey, here's some things we could put in ordinances to help protect the residents from things for builders? And I don't know, if that's just what we were talking about. So I guess, Bob, your thoughts.
What we did in the past, when there was a heightened complaint level, we simply had a listening session. So it was the village president, I think we had a board member and myself here at the village hall, and people could come in from 5 to 7 and address their issues, the steps they took, if they were successful or not, and we gathered that information. The missing component was, we didn't have a building inspector. I don't remember back then, this is probably 2017, so I do have a file full of those documents and notes and whatnot. So that's maybe a suggestion, and then we report back this, the, how do you want us to do that? You give a report back to the board. And then that way, it's a 2-hour night or whatever you want to make it. People can come in at 5 o'clock, they can come in at 6:30, versus whatever their schedule was. I think that went pretty good. They felt like they were being listened to. After that, I went and I spoke with one of the home builders and just said, this is, I shared the comments with them, and they're, oh, we're aware of this, we're aware of that. And there were some changes in quality control, who was, maybe the foreman, and they put a different person on the contacts because they were just kind of getting blown out. So I'd say that there was some success to that, but I'm fine doing whatever. I don't know that you want to have a meeting with the full board. That's fine.
I don't know that, I mean, that was just the initial idea that came up, the concern that kind of is very apparent to me is the purchase of a home, right, is between private citizen and builder. Doesn't involve government, or at least it shouldn't. Oftentimes I think we're probably the last resort, trying to rectify or correct a really bad situation. I don't know that there's a lot that we can do, but at the same time, if we don't know what all those issues are, we're not gonna be able to correct any of them, right? We can pull the building inspector in here, various builders, whatever, right? I'm not interested in rehashing how crappy one builder is or whatever, right? Not interested in that. What I am interested in is somebody has issues with their builder, bring those issues to us, right? And then we can, instead we can collect it, we can somehow chart it, put it together and figure out what, if anything, we as a board can do to facilitate some solutions.
You have the files in electronic form.
I can scan.
You scan it. You send it.
And some of the things we found was, there was a complaint, there was. Well, that's not fair. So the building, and then there was a follow-up with them, Well, yeah,
It was kind of, he said, she said.
you know, everyone's guilty for the cross examination, I guess.
I thought it was our responsibility as a board to, like Chris said, is a hold, the building inspector is responsible for their job to make sure that everything complies with our ordinances and. If they're not doing that, then we deal with that when we hear about it from them, but this is kind of like, cattle are all out the pasture already, now we want to start calling them back in, and, you know, if you got issues like that, you know, I get it. All we can do is move forward, and I think we started that process already with dealing with the, building inspector on the last issue here in the work session, right?
Yeah, I think he seemed to be a lot more, amicable to a lot of those.
So
A
if
lot
there's,
of stuff we proposed, especially the grading. I know specifically, he said he was gonna go out there and work with the excavators.
I'd be willing to entertain, you know, conversation that is our building inspector not doing what he's supposed to be doing? You know, that kind of stuff, so that we can keep him in it, but to have those conversations, because there's a lot of them out there. I mean, I've heard a lot of horror stories,
That we see.
and it's kind of just like ripping the scab off a wound that's already slightly healed, you know?
But some of,
We,
some of those that, Bob, and maybe I'm wrong, when they came. It's that these builders are up to code where they're at the minimum.
Right.
They're at the minimum. They're not doing anything wrong, but they're at the minimum. And so this is what the problem is with them. It's not the builders.
Well,
So there's a whole bunch of issues with all this, right? Number one, as far as you're concerned with the building inspector. Industry standard says this, right? That building inspector does exactly what is required of him, yet we still have a problem. So who does the homeowner go to? You go to the inspector, you go to the builder, you go to his neighbor, you go on Facebook and bitch, right? Like, I have no idea. What I am interested in doing is trying to compile a lot of this information, as much as we can possibly get, right? And looking for some kind of solutions for the big hitters, right? And if the big hitters are, hey, they don't plant my grass because I closed on my house in November and now it's, you know, May and I still don't have grass, right? That's a different solution than, the grade of my property is garbage, or my
grass is
basement is
flowing.
flooded, or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There are different issues that require different solutions. Building inspector is only gonna be held to the standard that building inspectors are, right?
You're checking up on it, and you didn't check it. Well, but also from the standpoint where he's kind of getting at is what are we telling him the standards are? We don't have something in there.
What does it matter?
Right, but
Industry standard is what it is, though, right?
But I'm saying, I would forget about even the grade right now. The grade's there, they're not doing it, that's one thing. But if we have something where it doesn't say you need to have your grass planted right away at the beginning of the spring, if there's something that's enforceable or not in our ordinances. If we have stuff there, great. If we don't have stuff, if we're missing things, if we have a few things that, hey, we can tighten this up and make it better, where now it's in their contract when they close that, hey, if you start building this after October 15th or something, you know, you're not getting grass, and so you put whatever, $10,000 in escrow that's there for right away come spring, that you're planting grass, you're not waiting until it's August, September. And so that's, I think, what the thought is behind that. Are there things that we can make our ordinances more robust, that the building inspector has things that this is what he's being held to that are more firmly in place.
When
Is
he
that-
does that, though, he said that he doesn't give an occupancy permit until that.
For some that are, if it's become an issue, it's like a one-time thing or anything.
so what is it you're hoping to have with this? Just to kind of
I
wrap this conversation.
want to be able to, there's not an easy solution like, hey, let's get the building inspector and we'll put, you know, we'll make him do what we want to do or whatever, right?
Okay.
That's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for everything. Do we need to, as Doug pointed out, do we need to look at having builders put money into escrow? Right, so that people that close in November, make sure that they don't have a battle on their hands. The following year, right, so they get grass seed or trees or whatever.
I think
If,
that's gonna be a hard thing for us to do. It requires escrow accounts by every.
I'm not saying that that's our solution, what I'm saying is that there's a myriad of issues, right? What do we do with builders that people close on a house? They get to the house, right? And all the garbage is laying there. What do we do with that? Or what do we do with a house that's being built, right? And there's garbage blowing over, which is probably.
Bob calls the
different, but-
developer and has done it many times.
But anyways, the point is, I just want to be solution oriented, not sit back and board going, hey, look, we know these issues are happening, but there's nothing we can do.
So I think the first thing we can do is, let's review the stuff that you have. Let's review that, and I think I had said that will do a ride along with the inspector. I think you should join me
Yeah, well,
for that.
we can do
Let's schedule that, so then we're out there, then we can actually get a really good idea of what they're looking for, we can get a little bit better idea. Let's field the complaints we already have, and if we want to put a session on, maybe. And I don't think it hurts to have a listening session, because Capstone built a lot of the houses up in River Hills, and they're gonna build a lot of the houses out here, and maybe it is a good chance to just stop. And see what we've done so far, maybe just do a little status check. So yeah, maybe we ride along on some Capstone houses.
Yeah, maybe a listening study is a better way to do it than trying to do a board meeting.
I
right?
think there's like multiple solutions.
There's that might be a better solution.
It seemed to let people, you take away the video. And it was a little bit more informal.
It's not an intimidation of
Right.
6, 7 people sitting across the table from you going, what do you have to say? Type
They
of
feel
thing.
comfortable.
Right. I think, so I'm good with that personally. If you guys want to take a look, we get the information from Bob.
We'll do right.
Yeah.
Do a ride along, kind
Yeah.
of come back. next
Are you
month.
okay sharing that? That with us? Sure. Okay.
We'll work together on this one.
So
And maybe.
we will, I'll make a motion to basically postpone this again until the next workshop discussion for February.
Perfect.
Second.
First and second, any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, postpone until next month. All right, we will now move to closed session. Convene a closed session as per Wisconsin statutes 19.851 deliberating and negotiating specified public business. Whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session, bid for property sale and Wisconsin statute 19.851 conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to involve wise and damages and mitigation. Please stop recording. And we'll hold on. Wait, sorry.
Are we putting people on the waiting?
Oh, yeah, we have to stop recording. You have to
Gotta do the motion.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Do I miss putting people on the waiting room? Should I be doing that?
just wait a second.
Oh, well, I gotta put Mike back in here then.
So I'll make a motion. to go
Wait a
into
second.
closed session.
No, you made the motion.
Second. Okay, then a roll call. Roll call. Brandon?
Brandon from here.
Yes.
President, aye.
Jeff? Yeah, aye. Chris Marie.
Donnie Kern, I.
Body aye. Now we're. Now we can pick everyone up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I forgot to introduce Michelle Pasco, engineer in her office. Might see her around one of these summers.
Okay, I'm gonna be putting everybody in, the, waiting room.
You get to watch yourself on YouTube. Check it out. Like, smash that subscribe button. I gotta say it every meeting. It's on every meeting minute so far. You put it on last month's meeting minutes.
She wasn't recording.
You put that was you? Were you doing who's doing last month's meeting minutes?
Me?
Were you doing them?
Andrea probably.
Andrew? Okay.
Who
Who recorded the meetings?
Oh.
They had Brandon liked and subscribed.
Oh,
Said like. and
Maybe they
subscribe.
did.
So you're removing them or you?
Put them in the waiting room.
You said you're removing.
Oh, shoot. They don't make me cry.
They client cancel on the middle of the screen. Stop recording.
I'm still getting, should I leave Andrea in here?
No,
You can, it doesn't matter.
no, she's gotta be on, you go to closed session, she's gotta be on video. Who?
Or?
Andrea.
And the Village of Somerset's,
It's recording still.
I know, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Comes up at 40.
Okay. During open session now.
We came, so I've done, I said,
We're out.
we're now out of closed session, brought back into open session. This Doug Lottie make a motion to authorize for the village attorney to file a civil claim regarding the water issue against Sean Wisen for full restitution.
Brandon Crone second.
All those in favor, I'm sorry, any further comments or discussion?
I'm not in favor of this. I don't believe that we need to do this until after we at least get through the restitution hearing on 26th that I just been made aware of, so.
But you were in favor of the $13,000.
I was in favor of
right?
13.
Right. Yeah,
I voted on that.
all right.
Any other comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Nick,
motion carries. Okay, next item is water village and sewer bills.
Donnie Kern make a motion to approve this water village bills totaling $1,520,909.70. I've reviewed them. You seem to be in order.
Dudley second.
Any other further comments or discussion?
I don't think that's gonna include that.
Hmm?
600,000 for. Number 5, pay 5 and pay 6. So that'll be in the next
That'll
bill.
be in there, yeah. Right.
We're authorized to pay them.
Yes, yeah, that'll be in
So
there.
you know, it's not in this one.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion, don't want to make a motion to adjourn,
I do second.
all in favor,
Aye.
any opposed? Adjourned at 8:15 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Doesn't tell my battery's running low.
Say, bad, we done, better kill it. Still recording.
So if we hadn't gone into.
Oh,
session-
Not this.
Yeah. I don't get a new one. Hold on, we're still on recording.
I don't get a new one ever. That's what.
Why couldn't you
Mine-
get out of
When
here?
when I no longer here, I think.
Close the battery.
I did. It won't work. Oh, there it was. I just didn't hit that. I didn't-
Great night.